Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to go through some of your comments and just, comment on them, react to them, and hopefully we'll do more of these in the future. So if you have anything to say, good or bad, you can go down in the comments and I'll try to do a reaction video to them. I want to ask you one thing as well. Please go down and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm almost at 100,000 subscribers. It's just a small step, man. I've come a long way. Thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed already. If you haven't, hit that button, hit the like, and drop a comment. So let's just get started. Let's get into these comments. I have the first one right here. So that snare has a particularly tasty punch. Are you doing any processing or you start just with a good sample? Yes, I just start with samples that I like. You should always do that, all right? I think a lot of people just sometimes think that they can fix everything in the mix. I go the other way. I mean, I just get sounds that work straight from the beginning. Let me also say that there is some processing happening, and that is in the master out. So especially the analog heat, whenever I run it through the analog heat, it's running through some nice filters that do this bell smiley curve where I boost the lows and the highs. And that will affect the sound of the snare a little bit. And there's some compression as well happening on the outputs, and that will also affect the way everything sounds, the kick, the snare, everything. So the processing happening is the mastering most of the time. Then that's really where you can get a lot of this punch and a lot of this magic happen as well. All right, let's jump on to the next one. Let me get some coffee first. All right, let's jump into the next one. MPC stems is really good. I like the way it sounds. I also use it for my old beats I've made from scratch and just remake it to something new. Yeah, that's one of the cool things, is that now we can go back to our old beats, old samples, and now with stems we can get some of these sounds out of the way and just make it sound better. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I'm doing as well. Just going into my old folders for samples and just see what I can do to these samples. But it's funny because I wasn't using MPC stems. In this video, I was using Logic. I really like the way Logic is stemming out the audio. So actually in this video, it was Logic, not the MPC. Dope brother, do you have a subwoofer? No. I just got a B&W recently for my stereo system. Should have bought it decades ago. Sounds twice as big and more realistic when listening to music. Yes. I mean, I don't think I've ever used a subwoofer. I've listened through music through a subwoofer, and I get it. It does sound big. It does increase that the sound of the music. I don't use it. I don't have one, and most of the times, as most of you know, I only use headphones. So I do have some speakers. That is for me just to listen to music, listen to records, to reference music. But most of the time, I'm using headphones. I mix, master everything on headphones. So yeah, I don't have a subwoofer, but I can see the appeal for it for sure. As usual, a great beat from you. Thank you so much. Everything seems so simple when you make beats. I have a technical question. When you're making a drum pattern, quantization disabled, which is something I don't do or rarely do, depending on the samples. Are you not afraid of latency, such as hi-hat, snare, or kick won't land register in the exact spot as you're drumming, right? I'm asking because I see that you're using the blue cable, so you're probably using the MPC software. So there's definitely some latency, and then he explains latency. So latency is just when you tap the pad or key, how long does it take to actually register that impact? That's latency, and that actually happens when you're on software, not in standalone. First of all, I never record unquantized. It's just not me. I record everything quantized and then I shift notes around. That's just how I work. I've always worked that way. There was a period that I was working unquantized years and years and years ago. But to be honest, I never really clicked with the sound it was fun to do. But I never really liked it. I much prefer to just record everything quantized and just nudge notes to get that feel. Sometimes I go note by note, and honestly, I'll just go with snare, see if this snare can be better here or there. That's how crazy I am about a good drum loop. I just go really deep into each hit. Okay, so yeah, I always record quantized, so that doesn't really bother me if I'm working in either the software or in the computer. In this case, he was actually referencing the blue cable because it seemed like I was working with the software because of the blue cable, but I wasn't. I was working in standalone. Sometimes I work in controller mode, which most of the time is because I'm making a sample pack or I'm sound designing, and I prefer to have the computer for everything that I need. In this case, but even if I'm in controller mode, I can pull the latency down and you won't even notice anything. And it doesn't really matter because I always record quantized. All right. When will stems become a standalone function? And since you're one of Akai's preferred content creator, what are your wishes for the next MPC to include? Thank you for sharing your ideas. The community wants to know. First of all, thank you as well for all your comments. I don't know if I'm Akai's preferred content creator. I don't think I am. We keep in touch. I don't have insights into what's happening or what's to come. I definitely do not. They keep it very locked in to their company. I never get anything. Only when there's something coming out in a couple of months, they might send me the news. But yeah, I don't know when it's coming out. But they've said it's going to come out this year. So again, I'm thinking around October. That's my birthday. So maybe if I'm their preferred content creator, they'll drop it on October. So what are my wishes for the next MPC? I'll be honest with you, I'm very happy with the state of the MPC. If there's something that I would love to see implemented is a new song mode. And that actually relates to one of the questions that's come in as well. I would love to see a song mode. Maybe not the one that's in the force, maybe something more creative. But in any case, I would love to see a new song mode. Apart from that, man, I'm really, really happy with the MPCs nowadays. I can do anything I want with them. I don't think there's anything in there that really, people talk about the audio quality. Why not some analog filters in there, some Class A EQs in there? I don't know, but that would probably cost a bunch of money that no one could afford anyway. So now I'm actually happy. One of the cool things that I would love to see is a step sequencer, an MPC with a step sequencer, because I'm a huge fan of step sequencers. And I would love to see a step sequencer on an MPC. Apart from that, I mean, I'm happy. I'm honestly happy with what the MPC does nowadays. And maybe come back to it in a couple of months. So this is referencing that video that you guys see in the comment. And that's something that I'm talking in the video saying that, I made this loop and I'm going to come back to it in a couple of months. So he's referencing that sentence. That workflow is so foreign to me, but I very much see the appeal and usefulness of working that way. I'm going to be thinking about that. All right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got some other comments like this that I'm going to go through. It's just the way I work. I've always worked this way. And again, I think this ties to the previous question where I said, I would love to see a song mode on the MPC. I think maybe if I had a song mode on the MPC with more appeal, I would probably sketch out an idea and try to finish the beat in a day because it's just easier to see. And the thing about the song mode in the MPC, that's where I most of the times finish my beats, is that you have to really listen, and that takes a lot of effort sometimes. So because I started to make music on an MPC, I've always just done a loop and never really finish it. I just leave it aside, and then in a couple of months when I'm ready to make a beat tape, I go back to my beats, pick the best ones, and then I finish them. So I'm never in a hurry to finish anything when I'm making like the first sketch. Right, leave the beat as it is. Same thing, so same type of comment. It's the biggest gem in this video. I do the very same thing. I've made hundreds of loops. If I want to put it in a project or work on it later, then I'll finish it. That's 80 to 85% of my beats. I know I have difficulty staying in the moment, so I don't force it. I think I'm the same, especially in the MPC, because working with song mode is very hard. It will take a lot of effort. And just, I think I relate to what he's saying. It's difficult to stay in the moment. I think that's it as well. So I'm in the beat. I just created a loop that I love, and sometimes it's kind of hard to judge where the beat should go. That's why sometimes I also leave the beat behind. It's just like, let it rest and come back to it with fresh ears, and then listen to it, really see what I feel about it and how I can maybe design everything around it. So let's go into the next one. Another vibe as usual. Thank you so much. Since you're talking process, about how long would you say it took you to find your sound? Okay, making beats is one thing, but it's not easy to stand out. You have an identifiable sound, particularly among a lot of the other content creators on YouTube. It would be cool to hear you speak on finding your voice. All right. This is a subject that I don't really know how to address. Let me get some coffee. This thing about having a sound, I don't really know how I got here. I just did. But the funny thing is that this is not the sound that I was trying to make. So I was trying to make something else, but I could never get to that specific sound. This is not, I don't have that much control over what I do. I just follow the sounds most of the time, and I have my techniques, which I use. But I tend to fall into this sound most of the time. I wanted to do things like group home that Premiere was doing. I love those style beats, but I could never really match that energy. And my energy was always this. This is where I always took my music. And so I kind of fell into this. It's just me. I think it's just the type of stuff you sample. And this is one thing that I mentioned once on one of my finding sample videos, is that, you can chop anything, but at the end of the day, you're going to sound like that. Like you're going to sound, if I chop a lot of rock records, I'm going to sound like rock hip hop. If I chop a lot of, jazz, I'm going to sound like that. So I think it has to do as well with the type of sounds that you sample. And it has to do with a certain energy that you want to put out. So I think it's just that. I don't know how I got to this sound. I think it's also the type of snares you use, the type of kicks, the type of hi-hats, the type of swing, how you mix your music. I tend to have a very standardized way of mixing my music, although I can break out of it if I want. But it's a very tough question. I didn't really know. I don't know how I got here. I've just been making beats, and I kind of landed on this. I know some people say I do have that identifiable sound, which is an amazing thing to hear from people. So I'm very happy for that, but I don't really know how I got here. I've just been chopping stuff, and I tend to chop the same sort of thing, and my beats tend to go down the same path, which I really like. So I suppose it's just about, I've talked this in some other videos. Sometimes it's about not trying to sound new every time, but trying to sound the same. And I think that might not be what some people want to hear, that repetitiveness, but it might be that. I don't know, it's a tough question. Another comment relating to that video and that thing that I said about leaving it for later for a couple of months. You helped me take away some of the guilt when I don't finish my beat. Yeah, man, don't finish your beats. What I would say is this, that, you should have an idea about, having a beat tape, and you should have a deadline for that, and you should work for that deadline. All right. Now, if you don't finish the beat today or tomorrow or however you arrange it or create it, that's down to you. As long as you meet that deadline, right, to put the beat tape out, then you're good. I think you should think about it that way. I've never once in my life finished a beat in one day. I've always done this. Make a loop, enjoy the loop, just leave it. And maybe that's not a great thing to say, but that's how I do it. So we're coming close to the end here with the comments. The ghost snares are the best as the beat becomes more complete. Perfect. Great job. Thank you. Yeah, it's something that really help. Ghost notes, they just help the groove so much. And you noticed that. That's great. You noticed that at the beginning I had just a with no ghost notes to create groove or anything. And that's normally how I work. I just create a very simple drum loop, just a 1 and a 2, boom, boom. And then as I layer samples and bass, I start to add in drums and I start to create groove with the samples and adding whatever percussion sound I see fit. So yeah. All right, this is the final comment. One thing to think about, these 90s beats that you're trying to emulate were made in the 90s. It's undeniable that the actual era they were made played a part in how they sounded, and today is not the 90s. Also, I'd say that producers making beats were trying to make something new, not emulate something from 30 years prior. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, you're right. They weren't trying to emulate. They were creating something new, undoubtedly. But they created something that is timeless. They created an actual genre, and if you can call it in specific boom bap, they created a genre that is just timeless. And I don't think there's anything wrong about people wanting to still sound like that, which, I think is great. I think it's a great sound. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Now, people they need to do whatever they feel like doing. If they want to try to sound like them, they should. If they want to create something new, they should. They should do whatever they feel like. But yeah, you're right. And I don't think that we, even if we try, I think it's going to be very hard to sound like them. I was in this particular video, I was talking about drum loops and how they actually can make you sound more like the 90s if you're using those drum loops and things like that, which I don't use. I use one-shots from sample packs. I've always done that. I get what you're saying. It's all good. I mean, you feel like some people should just make something new, probably, and I get it. It's all good. I mean, I feel like everyone should be entitled to their music to sound the way they want it to sound, as long as they also add something new to it, of course. But I think it's valid to sound like the 90s or try to sound like the 90s because it's a great sound. It's one of my favorite sounds. And if there are new people, new beat makers doing something similar to it, I'm just going to enjoy it because it's my favorite sound. In any case, thank you so much for your comment as well. Thank you all for watching the video. Go down to the comment section and tell me something. Maybe you'll end up in a video like this next time. I want to ask you one thing as well. Please go down and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm almost at 100,000 subscribers. It's just a small step, man. I've come a long way. Thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed already. If you haven't, hit that button, hit the like, and drop a comment. I'll see you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Bye-bye.